Okay, December 23rd, 2024, going down memory lane. Yeah, baby Andre was happy, Ministry of Tears. This was in and around March 11th of 2013, in terms of that's when it was uploaded and published onto YouTube, so maybe it was March 9th, maybe March 10th before I got it uploaded, or maybe I uploaded it that day, I don't know. It wasn't like I was keeping track of everything right down to the T, but besides that point, you know, I'm looking at this because this is just a few clips put together in regards to Andre when he was like 4 months old, all right? And, you know, that's my Marax hat, people, and like I was out in the community trying to be a positive entity, right? A positive person, I guess you could say a positive role model, right? For not only for my kids to be proactive about the homeless crisis that was starting to build, increase in 2013 as landlords started to flush out their basements, people.
Did you order something?
No, why?
Turn off.
Hold on a minute. Okay, so I guess I sort of have a boyfriend. Sorta. Anyway, back to what I was saying here.
She's not gonna do it.
Okay, you ready? Okay. Oh my god.
You should hurry up. You have 40 seconds left, man.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Okay. Chilling like a villain, got nowhere to hide, stay inside because black and white pride. If you don't know, then you know. I don't know.
Yeah, and yo, Mama G riding in her what?
In her G-Ride.
In her G-Ride. Pitmobile. With the Batmobile signature, with the flames on the side.
Okay, so the point of that is, I was fighting against homelessness that was increasing in 2013. I was an outspoken community activist fighting the good fight for people's rights, while organized religion, in partnership with a government that was corrupted by this point under the BC Liberal government of British Columbia, Canada, through their backroom deals with China and property developers and with people in India and those property developers to bring us to where we are now in 2024, where people like me have 7 cement trucks grinding their cement from 7 o'clock in the morning until 11:30 in the mornings, truck after truck after truck parked right outside my front door. 7 of them. Already documented that. As whoever's looking at this property that I live on is plotting and scheming not only how to evict out the basement suite, but the whole freaking house. And the house next to it, and the house next to it. So all houses can be torn down to build an ugly building that nobody can afford to rent, assuming that they'd even want to live in it, just that they can launder money through the housing market, through the underground economy that fosters illegal organ harvesting and those kind of activities, as well as fentanyl sales and other drug sales. They have to launder their money somewhere, people. Okay. And you know, what I'm trying to say is I wasn't a drug addict. I wasn't an easy pushover. I actually fought a good fight and put myself out there as a spokesperson to promote goodwill in the community so that we could turn the tide of homelessness around versus add fuel to the fire. And because I was consistent with my message, that's how my family became targeted, to chip away at the positive part of what I tried to do so that they could carry on with the negative activities that only stimulated the economy for themselves and their benefit in terms of accumulating wealth for themselves at the expense of destroying others. Okay. That's what you get for being a community activist, targeted. Right? I should have known better. Malcolm X and his family was targeted. Right? Martin Luther King was targeted. Kennedy was targeted. Anyone that really stands up for the community on behalf of the people become targeted. With oftentimes our families being targeted. Right? Just saying.
I'm doing better than you are, and I don't even rap. She can rap.
Yeah. Okay, so December 30th of 2024. We know how YouTube rolls with my channel, people. Now, somebody sent me an email, wanted to promote my channel. Wanted me to pay a discount rate of $150 so they could take it to wherever they take it to promote my channel. As if YouTube staff, AI, and their CEO as a corporation in partnership with a corrupt government in regards to British Columbia, Canada, would allow that to happen. So I kind of feel bad for that person wasting their time sending me an email that is basically fruitless. Okay? Seriously, man. So in the meantime, obviously I'm still being shadow banned, being punked off for that YouTube bitch, because I ain't going to be the YouTube bitch, so therefore I'm being punked off, right? Being punished, ostracized, criticized, who knows, right? Psychological warfare, we know how it rolls. They censor my comments, they shadow ban my videos, right? So in the meantime, this isn't about drones. This is about fog. Mysterious fog enveloping the entire world. People are getting sick and flights are being canceled. And apparently, in the last week or so, there's been 4 plane crashes. And people are reporting this fog in the UK, in the United States, just all over the place. And this fog stays for like a week. And it's grimy. It accumulates on cars where, you know, people wash their cars. Within 5 days, they can run their finger and it's a big pile of grit and dust and just crud, right? Okay. So, you know me, right? Take it to exposure. Because they're showing us all these pictures that the camcorder is picking up. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll provide this. I'm going to keep this video real short, people, because I've just been like kind of working with Amari's food in terms of trying to get into that routine. Like yesterday, seriously, man, I spent almost all day cooking kale, Swiss chard, asparagus, and chicken, which didn't work out that well because I used my convection oven and I haven't quite figured out how to use it properly yet. But besides that point, and then of course I had to grind everything up. And like, by the time I was done, we'll get back to this fog in a minute. By the time I was done, I kind of, you know, I did the kale. I ended up grinding it all up after the fact. And what I did is a little bit of garlic with a little bit of avocado oil in my big pot. I ripped off the leaves of the kale, threw it into the pot. Well, first I sauteed the garlic a little bit, right? To get that kind of half cooked before I threw in the leaves. Then I threw in the leaves, stirred it around, cooked it, basically got it 3/4 cooked, right? It cooled, and then I took it to the grinder that I use for Amari's food to puree it. Okay, the kale was not organic. It was $2 a bunch. So for $2, it was enough to fill up one little glass container with those lids that I bought to set up that system for Amari. That's all. It was just one. Okay. And then I went on to the Swiss chard, chopped everything up, the stems, everything. Okay? The stems for the kale, I have off to the side, which I'm going to blanch today and dehydrate them and then grind them up for my gravy mixes or whatever, okay? All right. So anyway, I did the Swiss chard, stems and all, right? Same idea, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of avocado oil, cooked garlic a bit, and then threw in everything, stirred it around, took that to Amari's little blender, and that was like another container full, basically, for the most part. We're talking just little small containers, right? That's what it was reduced down to. That's what I'm trying to say. And that was $5 for that bunch. So that's $7. Okay? And then I did basically 2 batches of asparagus. Of course, I cut off the ends that are stalky, put them off to the side with the stems of the kale, and then I'm going to blanch those today and dehydrate them and grind them up for something else dehydrated. But what was left in terms of the asparagus, I cooked up, basically grinded that all up, got a little bigger, like a larger container, double the size, we'll say, right? And that was 7 and 9, so 16 plus 7 is $23 in terms of what I paid for just for those 3 items. Now that was 2 bunches of asparagus, 1 bunch of Swiss chard, and a small bunch of kale. $23. And all I got was 2 little containers, 1 Swiss chard, 1 kale, and then double the size of asparagus, all grounded up, ready pureed for Amari to space it out throughout the week, right? And actually there was a little extra because he ate that last night with, I think it was Swiss chard, because there was more Swiss chard. So I gave him some Swiss chard with avocado blended up together, and he had that, right? So, I'm just doing stuff like that. That's all I'm saying, right? And then, of course, I cooked the chicken. Now, today I'm going to grind chicken, pick out what I want for him, put it in his little dish. Some of it will be ground up, pre-grounded, so I can, use it over the next day, 2 days, as well as another couple of pieces that I can add in there within the 3rd day, going into the 4th, right? And I'm going to open up a new jar of rich pork bone broth to supplement his daily meals, right? Okay. But outside of that, I'm just doing okay. So now we're dealing with this fog, which is making people sick. People are puking, nauseated, dizzy, sleepy, right? Lethargic. It seems to be in more than one country. It's long lasting. People are recording it, and the camera, however they're recording it, which is normally on cell phones, is picking up, is capturing, that's what it's doing, a visual that our eyes cannot see in real time, right? Now, I don't think all cameras are picking it up, because I do believe some cell phones have filters on them. Because whatever we're dealing with is very deviant and a master of trickery. So the more that they can be deviant and trick you, the more successful they are at deceiving you. So, in the meantime, that's the subject of what this is about, right? So, of course, I came in, and the reason I'm turning this on right now is because I'd like to document my comment before it gets shadow banned by YouTube, deleted by YouTube staff or whatever, or maybe even perhaps the content creator that wants to hide it or delete it, assuming that they can even see it, as if maybe YouTube already deleted it in light of what they do with my channel in terms of shadow banning, because I come in on a different foot. And what bugs me about all these content creators that try and expose corruption in general, you know, they bring to the surface, well, here's something that's not normal. You know, your naked eye can't see it, but if you notice, the camera can. And then they bring in all these different TikTok videos to confirm what they're saying in terms of their phones are picking up the abnormal activity behind this fog to make people realize that they're not dealing with real quote-unquote fog. It's something else, right? But they don't take it to the next step in terms of taking it to exposure, right? Right? And then if you right? So of course I come in and I'm like, okay, well, if you want to know, and they want to get to the bottom of what this fog is, even though they've come to the realization that it's not real fog, because it's kind of a global thing where a lot of people are showing through their videos that there's something else that's being, that's instigating this phenomenon that isn't normally considered to be quote-unquote ice crystals, okay, that would relate to fog. So I just want to say, find a editing program where you can take still photos to exposure. Also enlarge a photo of interest. In other words, you got a photo with little pink dots on them, right? Because this is what lady was saying, you know, on her cameras, there was little pink dots that would come and, you know, they'd show and then they'd disappear and they'd come back and whatever. Well, in a situation like that, you'd take a still photo, you'd zoom in onto those little pink dots, you'd crop it, save it, and then you'd take that photo to your editing program to take it to exposure, to bring it to different densities so that you might be able to see some nanotechnology, perhaps, some motherboards. Maybe you'll see a freaking drone. Who knows what you're going to find, okay? But you're going to see something that you wouldn't normally see. All right. Find an editing program where you can take still photos to exposure, also enlarge a photo of interest, crop where you want to see the density of the image, and then play around with the exposure feature of your editing program. And you'll probably be surprised what you'll find. Okay? People don't take it to that level, and they need to. But of course, YouTube, if I put that information out there, whether it's through a video or even through comments, they don't want people to catch a clue. They want to keep them dumb. They want to foster that fear porn, you know, breed fear, right? Paranoia, right? Just that whole 9 yards. So before they would allow people to take control and have investigative capabilities to determine what they're looking at outside of taking it for face value, because whatever they're looking at clearly is faster than the eye can see, and that's why only cameras, recorders, camcorders, you know, cell phones, those kind of things can capture it, because it's done by frames as it's being recorded. So depending on what you're recording, right, and how it reflects back into the lens of the recorder, you're gonna, the camera is not like us. It goes frame by frame, within seconds, and I've said this before. You have 60 seconds in 1 minute, and within 1 second are 60 frames. Right? Cameras record 30 frames per second, or they can go, I think, as high as 60 frames per second. Maybe even more depending on the technology. I don't know. All I know is cameras can see what we can't see, but they do it frame by frame. Okay. So I'm trying to explain now, okay, what I just said. Energy weapons are translucent. Okay? Whew. They go so fast, faster than the eye can see. But if you record them and then you slow down the frames where you're going frame by frame, seconds within seconds, okay? It has to be seconds within seconds. You have 60 seconds and then there's either 30 frames in the 60 second or there's 60 frames within the 60 second. And then you get into 1 second of 60 seconds that will make 1 minute. That's how you break it down into frames. Okay, that's how a camera records. You have to have an editing program that can bring it down to those seconds of a second within a second in order to see exactly what's there when it comes to a translucent energy weapon or whatever you want to call it. People don't think like that. Energy weapons are translucent, but camcorders and some cell phones, and I say some cell phones because I do believe some cell phones have already had filters put on their lenses to prevent people from capturing what is in the environment when it comes to energy weapons, okay? Can pick up them that can pick them up, record in real time, okay? They record it in real time, seconds within seconds within seconds, okay? But the problem with the real time is that it is faster than what the eye can see. So find an editing program where you can take a video and look at it frame by frame, meaning seconds within seconds. An energy weapon image is captured by the recorder with 2 to 3 seconds within 1 full second. Okay? Is an example of what I'm trying to tell you. So you've got 60 seconds in 1 minute, and within 1 second of that 60 seconds, there's another 60 seconds within the seconds of the 60 seconds. You're only going to see that if you can go frame by frame in terms of the numbers of frames that were recorded at the time of the recording, depending on the device and the program that the device is recording under. 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second. Okay? Now, in terms of editing programs, what I've noticed over the years, people, what I've noticed over the years is they've removed CDs off the market with editing programs that had good features to break down what I'm just talking about. Now, I'm sure there are editing programs that you can purchase through these apps with computers coming in with, you don't even have the ability to put a CD into computers anymore unless you go with the old school computers. That's what I like about old school computers. You can have an old CD from 2000 and still install it into an old computer and use that editing program to accomplish what I'm talking about here. Now, whether you can find an editing program online through an app, purchase it, have it downloaded onto your computer, and then take it second by second within seconds, frame by frame, I don't know. Because these bastards that do this kind of shit when it comes to energy weapons and psychological warfare and all this other crap, they're always one step ahead of us. So, you know, they're going to take away features from the public to prevent them from being successful at discovering what they're dealing with. The harder they can make it for you to discover what you're dealing with so that they can keep doing it, they're going to do it by hook or by crook. And if it means taking away editing programs and taking away features within those editing programs... What was that noise? Hold on a minute. Oh. Maury's got this new sound now. But the last time he did that, that's when he went into a seizure because he was constipated from those stupid drinks. Anyway, people have been getting sick, puking all over the place. All kinds of people all over the place. So, why are we not surprised? Okay, so as I'm saying, my concern is people are not able to access good editing programs where they can take their photos that they crop or the original photo, right, to an editing program where they can bring it to exposure to see what the density is between the different layers of that photo to identify exactly what they're looking at when it comes to a quote-unquote energy weapon or an anomaly. Okay? Okay? Right? Something that's completely unusual and shouldn't be there, but it is after you bring it to exposure. Based on perhaps even going frame by frame to isolate something unusual where you can crop it, take it to exposure, and see it for what it is. Where otherwise, the naked eye, through those frames, you wouldn't even notice that it happened. Okay? The only way you're going to isolate those instances is by taking it to frame by frame within a second. Seconds. Okay. Energy weapons are translucent, but camcorders and some cell phones can pick them up, record in real time, but the problem with real time is it is faster than the eye can see. So, I'm having a problem with my eyes, people. So, find an editing program where you can take a video and look at it frame by frame, meaning seconds within seconds. An energy weapon image is capable by the recorder, captured. An energy weapon image is captured, and that's why cell phones right now across the globe are picking up images that are different than what the eye can see. Okay? But nobody's taking it to exposure to actually see what it is that they're looking at. And it's probably, honestly, connected to energy. Energy. Right? Like, scattering molecules. If that makes sense, right? Because people are going out in this fog. People are looking in their cameras, seeing their loved ones come to the house, thinking they're going to be soaking wet or damp or whatever because they're in this fog. But when they get in the house, they're completely dry. Well, what does that tell you? There's no moisture in the fog outside of static electricity, which is a form of energy. And that's why the cameras, the cell phones, are recording it. But yet your eyes can't see it. All you can see is a fog, and you just assume it's a fog. All right? Okay. Captured by the recorder with 2 to 3 seconds within 1 full second. Okay? Remember, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and then you've got another 60 seconds within the 60 seconds, so 60 times 60. It's messed up. Within 1 full second is an example of what I'm trying to tell you. A good editing program, assuming that you can find one these days, right, that can break down frames within a video as it is being recorded by frames, will allow you to see what you can't see with the naked eye. Do I think that YouTube will let that comment stay up? Probably not. I don't think so. It's too much information. it doesn't fall with that fear porn. It doesn't geek up the hype. You know what I'm saying? It actually gives information in how to tackle the problem to get to the root cause. Not that you'll ever get to the root cause, because whoever is doing this is too far up in the food chain to be held accountable, because ultimately at the end of the day, all our governments right across the board are participating in this nonsense for nefarious and malicious reasons. Okay? And then, listening to the video, you know, they're talking about they wash their cars. This fog has been around for 4 or 5 days. It doesn't go away. They're finding out it's halfway across the globe in other parts of the world. They come outside, they run their finger on their car after sitting in this fog for 4 or 5 days, and it's full of freaking crud. Well, I told you, I've been telling you there's been something going on in my house in the last year. Now I know these cement trucks outside my front door every so often, well, actually too often, 7 at a time, grinding their cement for hours on end. Okay, we're talking hours on end. As fast as one drives away, another one comes with its grinding of the cement. That's all spewing dust and shit, whatever, into the air. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? But it's more than that, people, because it doesn't matter where I go in this house. Downstairs, upstairs, cupboards, nooks and crannies, there's a grit that has manifested over a period of time that never used to be there. Okay? Now, I realize this house is old, but I've been in this house for a long, long time. And it's sticky, and like I said, it's in areas where you wouldn't expect it to be. It never was there before, right? And it's like it travels on its own, and it multiplies. Serious, okay? Grit accumulating inside houses. Nobody's really talked about that yet. Don't be surprised if people don't start talking about grit accumulating in their houses over the next 6 months to a year, okay? Where grit shouldn't be found in terms of in cupboards where, you know, when things are covered up or locked into a cupboard with, you know, enclosed cupboard, the chances of grit finding its way in there is almost nil to none. That's why we have cupboards, to keep grit out, to keep dust out, right? Well, for me, it's like a windstorm swept through my house that got into all my cupboards and nook and crannies that left behind grit and unusual dust where spiders now like to nest. Yeah, the spiders are attracted to it. Now again, I live in an old house. I've been dealing with spiders ever since I moved in, right? More spiders in my yard than there are in my house. But over the years, right, you know, what I found is as I'm going into my cupboards where my food preps are, like for example, when I went and did that chili. Now, it wasn't even 6 months ago, less than 6 months ago, the cupboard that I went in for those cans, for the chili that I just made over the last 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it was, last 2 weeks we'll say, right? There should have been no spider webs in there. None. Right? No grit, none of that crap. But needless to say, I stick my hand in there to go get these cans. I'm feeling spider webs everywhere. Okay? Right? Now, there are certain hot spots in my house, like in my kitchen by my sink on the floor in this little, you know, under the floor, right under the car. Okay, I have to always take a rag and wipe. But, and in the cupboards, you usually get your lone spider that likes to live in the way in the corner in the back, you know, and catch a few bugs here and there. And basically keeps to itself, right? Like I said, I've been in his house. I've been in many houses for many years. And those are your friends. You want them because they do, you know, they do you a service. But it's almost like that movie where, you know, spider webs started overtaking a community. And before you know it, the whole community was covered with spider webs. Oh my God. And they became trapped. That's how I'm starting to kind of feel about this house in terms of I go into my cupboards. I know I was in there about 4 or 5, 6 months ago, cleaned everything out, took everything out, wiped everything down, you know, wiped up, right, stacked up my cans because I'm organizing my cans because I'm trying to set up a system. I've got my beans over here. I've got this over here so that, you know, I know where things are when I need them. Just like when I made that chili, I stick my hand in there and like, you know, I'm feeling fucking spider webs. Like, why? I go into another cupboard, same problem. Go into another cupboard, same problem. Why? Because there's something in the environment. Why? That's why, people. Just like this grit that's coming out of nowhere. It's like a windstorm went through my freaking house, blew through my cupboards as if wind could blow through my cupboards or wherever, right? And leaving the remnants of the dust and whatever, like, you know, whatever flies around in the air. Yeah, it's you know, people, you watch, mark my words, people are going to start talking about grit in their houses that they don't know where the hell it's coming from. It's getting into everything. Now, we all been aware and told at some point in the past about nanotechnology, self-replicating, right? Because it's just one of those things that people talk about, whether it's real or not, to which I do believe it is, to one degree or another. Or at least, if it's not nanotechnology, perhaps maybe heavy metals, attracted to heavy metals, to their own properties, right? Because, you know, things bind to themselves, right? So if you have a molecule of this and a molecule of that, we'll say a molecule of copper, a molecule of sand, a molecule of water, a molecule of plant matter, you know, chances are things are going to migrate to the right? Like, I don't know how to explain it. Things bind to themselves. That's what makes the molecules and then make them a mass of something, right? You can't take plant matter and add it to the molecules of copper and expect to get all copper, or even to expect the plant matter to bind with the copper. No, the copper will bind with itself. That's what makes itself copper. If that makes sense. Okay. Through my house that got into all my cupboards and nook and crannies that left behind grit and unusual dust where spiders now like to nest. Like I said, I've been dealing with spiders forever. It doesn't matter what house I've lived in. There's always been spiders. And I've been in this house 14 years. And lately, whatever's going on due to this grit seems to be, I don't know. Spiders like it. Spiders like it. Right? And so, therefore, I'm always wiping webs. Yeah. Stick my hand in there to go get those cans of beans, and I'm like, ugh. Right? So now I'm in there with the rag, wiping. Up on top, wherever. You know, pushing past the spider webs. Why? Why? It wasn't like that 2 years ago. Was it like that a year ago? I can't say. But definitely not 2 years ago. Right? I'm noticing it more and more, and I'm noticing this grit in places where it should not be, and it never has been, but it is now. As people are talking about a fog that's leaving behind a residue where their cell phones are capturing abnormal energy signatures, if you want to call them that. Something is definitely not normal in terms of the imagery that's coming through it. Right? But if you really want to get a better idea of what you're looking at, then yeah, you're going to have to take it to exposure and go into the density, the depth of the image itself to determine exactly what you're looking at, or at least give you a better perspective of what you're looking at. And I don't believe, honestly, and the point of this is I don't believe YouTube and its controlling entity wants people to figure that out. So therefore, I do believe that these comments that I'm talking about here right now will be shadow banned to keep people in the dark, to keep them playing into the hype of. Anyway, only problem is it never was like that before. And a windstorm never went through my house that I'm aware of, outside of maybe these dump trucks and these cement trucks going up and down my front road, sitting in front of my house, grinding their cement if they're not rolling up and down through the alley with their shit perpetually, right? You know, I mean, it does cause wind disturbances, and it does uproot a whole lot of grit and sand and dust particles into the air and spews them around town into the houses. But this is more than that. I do believe that. So maybe nanotechnology, perhaps, that self-replicates. In other words, maybe we're dealing with nanotechnology that is self-replicating. And it's going to take another 6 months to a year for people to come into their old cupboards, stick their hands in there, and realize that something else is going on besides fog. Right? What's in that fog? Where did it go? It's just flying around. Obviously, the camera is capturing it, but where is it going? Well, it's probably going into your cupboards and you just don't see it going in there because it's so minute with the molecule size, atoms and those types of things, right? Which is being fueled by some sort of a energy pulse, magnetic field, who knows, right? Electronics of some kind. Something's fueling it because it's not real. It's made to look real, right? But when you come in from outside from it, there's nothing to suggest that it's water in terms of that molecule, which is what creates fog. Water is what creates fog. But when these people are out in this fog and they go inside, they're dry, which tells you water is not involved. So what is it? Well, take it to exposure and you might have a better chance. Go by frame by frame by frame. Yeah. Will people do it? Hard to say. Can they find the right editing programs? Hard to say. I don't know. People are smart. I'm sure there's somebody out there that can figure it out. I'm sure there's somebody out there that has some old editing programs that can do what needs to be done. But other than that, I don't know, people. Okay, another video talking about the fog. This disturbing fog is causing me to lose sleep. And then it's just, several videos, it seems, put together with people either commenting about it, reporting on it, recording it, talking about it. And all I can think about, people, is, well, welcome to my world. What you see, you probably see better in that fog than what I see. Because that's pretty much what I've been reduced down, is a whole lot of foggy shit with everything blurring up together. Okay? Right? If I wasn't 62 and have experienced doing the things that I've done all these years, being a mother to 5 kids and looking after Uncle John and working on a non-profit and just da-da-dee-ya-ya-ya, I don't know. A lot of these things that I do right now would be more difficult than what I'm been up against with lack of eyesight, okay? All I can think of, people, even Andre, couple, 2, 3, 4 days ago. Maybe it was before we even got sick. Who knows? You know, he went outside and said, oh, it's really foggy out there. And it smelled like fire, like something was burning or something. And I'm like, well, you know, but it was fog. It was fog in combination. I said, well, somebody must be burning their fireplace. Who knows? I don't know. Either or, people are reporting that they're getting sick from this stuff. And, you know, they can't see 10 feet in front of them or past their property. And what they can see clearly is blurry, right? And all I can think of is, well, welcome to my world, because I live with this shit every day. And whatever this stuff is not normal, because fog is a remnant of water. Sleet is before snow comes, right? When there's a lot of sleet out there, that's water droplets starting to crystallize before snow, right? Fog, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works with those molecules with water, but water is supposed to be involved. It's usually cold, right? Damp when you get fog. Okay, raining, that kind of stuff, eh? Fog will come in, right? And it likes oceans, right? Because it comes off the water, usually. Well, not usually, but if you go to the ocean, you're going to find more often fog because of the water, right? So I don't know.
And I strongly have to agree with her. I feel like something big is coming. Something big is around the corner. And I have been saying that for quite...
And all I'm thinking is, well, everybody's going to start going blinder faster. Yeah, because, you know, this shit's happening. I've been screaming it at the top of my lungs for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. This targeting of individuals and individual families is... The net has gotten bigger, right? They're targeting larger populations with that net now versus just targeting, you know, a person here, a family there, right? Testing the waters to see if people will react and, you know, how they'll treat us who are being targeted in terms of the other people who aren't being targeted, right? And now that, you know, they've established techniques and they can see how passive people are about it and don't want to acknowledge things and are willing to avoid conflict just so that perhaps it doesn't happen to them. They've just widened the net, people. That's it. That's it. This is just another tactic to that net.
Quite some time now in a number of my videos.
I don't know if it's just me, but for the last few days, I have been having this weird feeling like something big is about to happen, right? Like this weird feeling of impending doom. I have been having this crazy feeling like in my belly. I don't know what it is, okay? To be brutally honest, I feel like something is already happening. And here's why. For the last few days, there have been crazy reports of dense, thick fog in many states all over America, in addition to the UK. Now, this is not your regular fog, because a lot of people have been reporting that they have been seeing some weird type of mist coming out of the sky with this fog, okay? In addition to that, there have been 4 plane crashes, y'all, within the last 5 days, okay? 3 of those plane crashes occurred within the last 24 hours. You had one on Christmas Day in Kazakhstan, and then within the last 24 hours, you had one in South Korea, Nova Scotia, as well as Norway. In addition to that, y'all, so many people have been reporting this weird sickness, where as though they're having muscle soreness, sore throat, body aches, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, the whole...
Okay, well, I don't know. We didn't get muscle sickness and all that crap, but the kids definitely got the puking flu of some kind, but that I contribute to a bacteria that perhaps Leia May picked up at school, because it came in with Leia May and Kyrie, right? And Leia May goes to school. She's in grade, I don't know, I think grade 1 or kindergarten. I don't know. She's either in kindergarten or in grade 1. Either or, that stuff runs rampant in schools. And once it's in the house, you know, it will go through the house. It takes a while for it to dissipate, right? Amari got it hard because of the constipation and then, you know, the drinks. And, well, we know that story, but let's just listen.
And they said that this sickness had just been coming out of nowhere. I don't know about you, but I feel like something big is happening or about to happen, and these people just are not telling us.
For me, with my eyes, and just, I suppose, being overworked and not getting proper sleep, not eating proper, I get dizzy, right? But I contribute a lot of that to my eyes, right? And then pressure in my head. You know, I go to the stove, turn on the stove, my nose starts running. I'm by the sink, which is close to the window, and because it's an old house, it's cold, and, you know, the nose starts running. Andre says, Nana, your hands are always cold. He noticed that. He goes, Nana, why are your hands always cold? And I'm like, well, that's because Nana's always working. I'm working with water and just whatever. I have cold hands. It is what it is when you're constantly putting your hands in water and washing and this and that, and, you know, and you're moving around, and I never have warm hands.
More and more people are...
Hold on a minute. Okay, I thought it was a commercial, but it's not. It's this guy cut out her, whatever she was saying, and he's now saying more and more people are noticing that the heavy mist. Had to use my wipers. About 30 people are getting sick and feeling nausea and all this crap, right? Puking and whatever, right? About 30 minutes after I got to work, I started coughing, and I have a headache. I rarely get headaches. It surprised me.
Fog. This next video comes from Mate Us J Marina 44, who's going to go more in depth about what's been happening to people experiencing the fog.
Anyone else noticed since this fog arrived on Christmas Day, you got a sore throat?
And that's another thing. These deviant individuals, right? Deceitful, deviant individuals, they like to harm innocent people in winter time. Big time people. What happened to me in January of 2003 with 5 dependent children and looking after Uncle John, a blind man? I was illegally cut off of welfare in the middle of winter in January of 2003. Okay? I didn't get no check for January. Right? They cut me off at Christmas time. Okay. When did they kick out Sierra out onto the streets? I'm just saying. It was in December of 2012, in the middle of winter, knowing that she had no housing, no food, no money, no clothes, no nothing, disconnected from her family, removed from her methadone, except for anything that I could do for her in terms of giving her a bit of money, some food, some clothes, as we were scrambling around, right, being demanded by social workers to put Andre into daycare at 28 months old. Because of what, people? Because what they did was illegally wrong, but they did it anyway. Because they had an ulterior plan. Okay? They just didn't think I was going to fight hard to get Andre back. 15 months later, I finally got him back. But our life has never been the same. And Sierra had a miserable 8 years out on the streets because she never recovered from what that initial social worker did. To whom doesn't till this day want to take responsibility. Oh no, that's not what I said. I didn't do that. Yeah, you did do that. Oh, but we got to remove a few more family members from your house because we wouldn't want them to be witnesses. So we'll just set the stage where Shemay can get murdered, and then we'll cover it up. And while we do that, we're going to harvest the organs. Because we need that money to launder into the housing market so that we can force you out into the streets and call you shitty-ass fucking people who did it to yourselves. So that hopefully you'll fall off the grid and die, and then we can harvest your organs like we did with Sierra. This is what we're up against, people. So, you know, don't be surprised about this fog at Christmas time. I'm just saying.
You started to feel lethargic. You lost your appetite. You felt fluey. You couldn't do anything. Didn't have any energy. Sweat. Couldn't sleep. Nothing natural about it for me, people. They're doing this on purpose. Whatever's in that fog is making us sick. And I know it's hard for people to get their heads around that they'd actually do it to us, but again, go and research the Georgia Guidestones. Go and research what they want for humanity. Keep us in balance with nature at 500 million. So they've got a big...
500 million breeders. That's it. They just want the breeders for the body parts. Okay? Accept that fact. Otherwise, life would go on. Right? In terms of everybody who has a right to live. right? Everybody has a right to a future, or at least try to have a future, right? Everybody's allowed to make mistakes and improve on their future by learning from mistakes, but not anymore. No, you are cornered into you don't even get a chance to make mistakes anymore, people. You're set up to fail when they come knocking on your door asking for the rent. Just look at it that way, because our governments are in partnership with organized religion, who together as a group commit organized crimes. Okay? No particular religion involved here, because the ones that are racing around chasing the money, trying to accumulate mass wealth at the expense of throwing everybody else under the bus, vulnerable families, the elderly, children, teenagers, young people with beautiful teeth, right? The government can't do what it does without the help of that organized religious group within that particular geographical area that's forcing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands out into homelessness. So that's just another tactic in terms of what we're looking at here, right? Because now people are starting to get sick. But as they're getting sick, trying to figure out why they're getting sick, as some people are calling out the fog, other people are saying, no, it's not the fog, because that's fog. You're just a conspiracy theorist, right? You don't know what you're talking about. Fog is fog, right? It looks like fog. It moves like, well, I suppose it depends on how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from your naked eye, you wouldn't really see how it moves. But if you take a camera to it, then you start to see things differently. But if you were to take it to exposure, then you would really start to see things differently, right? I'm just saying, people.
Task on their hands if they want this done by 20.
So yeah, they're going to be like blaming it on some flu, some pandemic, some new cropped up something, because the fog somehow mutated something. I'm just saying, right?
30, so think about it. Changes in the...
And of course, it's all being done in winter. They do it in winter because it's a hard time of the year to bounce back from the damage that's been thrown at you, from the destruction that's been thrown at you, and you have to pick up the broken pieces in a very fast kind of way and be resilient to not drop the ball, because many of us do have families that we have to look after, and you lose a lot as you do that, right? Otherwise, you fall apart, and you end up the statistic of that homeless person out on the streets, hopefully in their eyes strung out on their nasty drugs, so that they can put you on a supply and demand list and call your number when they need body parts. I can't stress it enough. How people are going to call them out and expose them and get rid of these things, I don't know. Because people are still in denial and think that our government representatives and their partner groups are ethical and of high morality. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. But yeah, no, they want it hard for you. That's why they do it in wintertime, people. And if they can make it even more emotional for that loosh harvesting, then yeah, they're going to go into the holiday seasons.
However, things they're sticking in us, things they're putting in the food. And I'm past caring what the Karens think. The amount of people in the comment section who say, oh, it's just winter, it's always like that, we always have fog. So this is far from natural, this isn't water, this isn't normal fog. Looks like it's conclusive. FogVid24 is a real thing. The previous video is going viral. If you go and read the comment section, everybody's saying they were completely fine, they didn't feel anything coming on, but then as soon as they went out in this fog, whatever it is, they got a sore throat, they had to go to bed, they couldn't sleep, they were bunged up, they had migraines, they lost all their energy, and not only them, everyone in the household. There's mums reporting on it saying all the kids are ill. We've got people in Kentucky, we've got people in Sweden, we've got people in Finland, all reporting the same thing. The fog it's made them sick. And you know, it's scenarios like this that always have an adverse effect. Whatever they're doing in the skies, whatever they're spraying, whatever this fog is, they're obviously doing it for a reason, but it is going to wake people up. People have had enough. They're sick of being poked, they're sick of being prodded, they're sick of poison in the air and poison in the food, poison in the milk, poison in the minds. We're being pummeled in more ways we can imagine to demoralise us over a period of time.
Exactly. Kick you out in the middle of fucking winter so they can demoralize you and break your spirit. That's exactly what they try to do. Yeah.
And so when things get to...
Been there and done that a few times already with these types of individuals that foster that kind of freaking bullshit crap called mayhem. Mayhem for profit.
A critical point and everyone's screaming out for a saviour, the government's going to be there, but they were the ones that created the problem in the first place.
So I'm not the only one here that thinks like this. Okay?
So as you can see, it's not just certain people or people located in certain places. No, there are...
So what is this? Let me read it. Can I read it? That strange mist fog we've had, then everyone getting ill, my Ring doorbell picked up this, but there was no rain or no snow outside. Exactly. Exactly. Where was the ocean? Where was the water? Where was the conductor?
There are multiple people around the world in different countries that are all saying they are seeing the strange fog at strange times, during times you normally do not see fog, and when they go out into this fog, they are feeling sick. They're getting cramps, they're getting these migraines they cannot explain. This video comes from Dana Dwyer on TikTok, who talks about actually becoming sick after being out in the fog in New York.
Spent the night at my parents' upstate New York. We had come home yesterday, and by the time I got home, I was already like this. Well, I didn't lose my voice yet, but my throat was killing me. My whole body was sore.
Yeah, Andre said it was in his throat. Couldn't swallow. Hold on a minute. Even Mari was having issues with his throat. Whatever was going on was just coming up, and he was trying to swallow and it just leak out, right? Little Kyrie and Alea May, they'd be puking and doing whatever, and things would calm down, and a day would go by, and Tisha thought everything was better, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, they'd start puking again, and then after that, it was going on for a couple, 2-3 days, or whatever the hell was going on there for her. Then next thing you know, Kyrie's got big-ass green boogers coming out of his nose, and Tisha's been sick for like a week and a half, pushing on 2 freaking weeks. With her voice all raspy, and I don't know. Seriously, people, I don't know. And we had fog before this all happened, because I remember Andre mentioning that there was fog out there and it smelled funny, and he thought it was fire, somebody burning. But I said, well, how much is fog out? He goes, there's a lot of fog out there. I said, then it's not burning, it's something else. It's somebody, maybe somebody has got their fireplace going, but at the end of the day, it was fog. And then everybody started getting sick. And so far, I've been lucky. But I have a strong immune system. My hands are always cold, remember?
I had a really high fever, and then when I woke up this morning, I had no voice, or I sound like this. I've had sore throats before, but never lost my voice while we were...
But I'm being taken out in a different kind of way. They took out my eyes, people with their negligence, with their orders, right? Everybody shutting down their clinics. Can't see a doctor, can't get referrals, none of that crap, right? And then just the stress of everyday life in terms of when you inherit a child with a disability, a severe one at that. It's not like you're going to be running around trying to get a referral for your eyes when you're waiting for a referral, and then they call you up 7 months later, or no, you call the clinic up asking about that referral, and then they say, well, we didn't put it in when you finally did get a hold of the clinic. But by then, 2 years had gone by without any eye drops. So yeah, they took me out, people. This is just another means to take out other people by breaking down their immune systems. I think so.
We were up there. There was that dense, weird fog that everyone's been saying they've been seeing everywhere. I've seen fog before, obviously, but this was different. It almost smelled funny, and it was thick and dense. So, has anyone else been seeing it? And has anyone else been feeling sick? And what kind of symptoms do you have? Because I just feel like a lot of weird things have been happening lately between the drones and the plane crashes and this weird fog and the unnamed sickness that like everyone's getting. I don't know. And I'm not usually like paranoid or whatever kind of person, but it just seems like there's way too much going on. 2024 just needs to be done because we can't pack any more things into this year, right?
This next video comes from Garden Glow 117 on TikTok, and she's also going to talk about how she has become sick after breathing in the air, the fog. Now, you're going to hear her call the drones Dior bags. That is because people on TikTok have now used a special word for drones, because TikTok, they are actually deleting drone videos and any mentions of drones. That actually also happened to me. I had a drone video up on TikTok and it's no longer there. So TikTok, they are scrubbing all videos and mentions of drones.
Dior bags in New Jersey sprayed the perfume in the store, and that thick fog rolled in. The air smells like chemicals. It smells and tastes like chemicals, and I taste blood in the back of my throat when I breathe the air outside. Super dizzy, lightheaded, nausea.
Well, I have that problem. Dizzy, light nausea, headache, mild headache, depends. Right? But then a lot of it is, to me, is contributed to my eyes. I do believe that, and maybe overworking. And not getting proper sleep, not eating, and always having cold hands. Who knows, right?
Coughing, everyone's throwing up. I went to the doctor because, I can't afford...
See, they keep bringing up this thrown up crap, right?
To miss work. I can't afford to miss work through all of this. And they said no strep, no flu, no nothing, to go home and rest. So I rested on Saturday, and today I had some errands to run before the work week started, and the symptoms came back as soon as I started breathing the air outside. So I just want to throw that out there because I think there might be some correlation.
And I don't think these are attention seekers, people. I just don't, okay?
With the perfume the Dior bags were spraying, and how
these are young people. They got better things to do in their life than to be, panicking in any kind of capacity over being attacked by an unforeseen force that they can't put their finger on, right? And then be borderline freaking paranoid about it yet. Okay? They're too busy, right? They got a future. Well, they're supposed to have a future. These are young people with beautiful teeth, for crying out loud.
Everyone is sick now.
Now, I had a theory that the locations that people are noticing this very suspicious fog, this mist, are in locations where there was heavy drone activity, heavy drone presence. There was also a heavy drone presence in the United Kingdom, in places like Kentucky, New Jersey, Florida, and so forth. Again, places that are noticing this very mysterious fog. Because like I said in my last video, if you remember, people had reported that these drones were spraying something, that something was coming out of these drones.
Usually I'll be able to see the red light from here.
Welcome to my world. You're lucky to see it. Well, he said usually I would see the red light, so maybe he didn't see it. Thick mystery fog. Again, been here 36 years. Never seen this go on so long. Smells different. Eyes burning. I had flu symptoms. Body aches. This is abnormal fog. What are you doing, Amari? Huh? Oh, bugger. I gotta go check on him. Just as I was gonna get up, he started giggling and laughing. I'm all paranoid. You don't even know, people.
Can't even see that red light.
This individual on TikTok, Mystery of Kyle 2.0, has an interesting theory about the fog and these drones.
I'm gonna be real about these drones in the sky, right? It's been foggy for 3 days. Definitely raising some suspicions about why they don't want us to see the sky. It's 55 degrees in Iowa, almost January, doesn't make any literal sense.
Okay, so I did that one video so far with picture number 1 and picture number 2 with whatever it was that was being reported on as quote-unquote drones. The first picture, it had, you know, the dots, right? That was clearly some sort of a sphere of sorts because of the way it was lined up and how it started to curl. And at one point, it was just a whole lot of emanating energy, right? Something was being emanated from those, I don't know what I wouldn't call them orbs, but signature lights, right? That were somehow connected together. But the thing itself had no body outside of an energy field of some kind, to which could be explained as to why radar wasn't picking it up, based on what other people were talking about. The second picture, I'm almost convinced it was some sort of a helicopter of sorts that was had, I suppose, an energy field around it to prevent people from seeing it for what it really was, outside of maybe what exposure brought to the surface. And even then, it was rudimentary in terms of, you know, I mean, it had components to it, but the body itself wasn't uniform. So, you know, what was it? A form of Project Bluebeam with conductors somehow associated to it in terms of, I don't know. Either or, our governments are definitely playing mind games with the general population, for sure. There's no question about that.
Now, we talk about people that are actually seeing drones in the Midwest. This is very far away from New Jersey, so that means the likelihood of these things being spread across the United States and observing all the territories is great. Now, think about this. What if they're prospecting? What if they're looking for land to take over once the event happens? Because mass evacuations, martial law, real estate becomes fair game, right? What if we got sold out?
We've already been sold out. Why do you think I'm facing eviction that's going to go straight past go and become homeless because of no affordable housing, right? We've already been sold out to organized religion that participates in organized crime. Bottom line, people. Okay? And then you have the few senior, mainly, and those ones coming up the ranks within the public union sector in terms of a government employee doing the nasties for the government leadership to perpetrate what's happening to us en masse so that more and more of us become vulnerable to homelessness and then easy picking for those that are running that supply and demand body part chain, human trafficking of body parts, to launder money through the housing market to prop up the underground economy. Because most of our economy in Canada really is propped up by the underground economy through selling out the population to the highest bidder who doesn't mind committing crimes because they're money hungry and they're always seeking more and by any means necessary. That's what my 62 years have taught me. Okay?
What if we got sold out to another country and these drones are just looking for their next...
Yeah, well, it's more than one country. It's not just India. It's not just China. It's a few combined together because it's an elite group of individuals, first of all, controlling the show, as they bribe those around them through that organized religion, whether people realize it or not, right? If you're a religious zealot and you're preacher tells you, or your guru tells you, or your pastor tells you, or your occult leader tells you to do something, and you're already a zealot to that particular religion, whatever it is, whether it believes in God or not, you're going to do it, right? Because you don't want to separate from the collective. You don't want to feel isolated from your people, right? So, you know, psychological warfare. Whether people realize what they're doing or not. But for the ones that are accumulating the wealth around this crap, they know exactly what they're doing, and they do it with malicious intent. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's why there's so many people becoming homeless, because it's being done with malicious intent. Because it frees up those body parts. That's what it is, supply and demand. And the demand isn't necessarily organs so that somebody else can live, per se, in terms of, well, I need a kidney, right? Or I need a heart, or I need lungs. No, they need their teeth for their robotoys. They need the skin for their robotoys and their experiments. Don't even be surprised if they're not even trying to hook them up with some organs within these robotoids to, you know, just for their experiments. If anything, they'll just do it for the experiment, because we're at that Frankenstein stage where it's not science fiction anymore, it's freaking reality. So if people are getting sick right across the board from, you know, south to north to west to east, right, around town, around the globe, well, you think that sickness isn't going to lead into something else? Yeah, of course it's going to lead into something else.
Live. It's going to be a fight, tell you what.
So you may be wondering if holograms can be projected into fog or smoke. Well, with all the fog going around, it could be man-made, it could be natural, who knows, but holograms can be projected into smoke or fog with the use of a projector that displays the image onto the screen of fog that was created with an artificial fog machine or even natural fog. This method works indoors as well as outdoors. Scientists have even figured out how to manipulate nearly unseen specks in the air and use them to create 3D images that are more realistic and clearer than holograms. So if you don't think that there's something nefarious behind all of this new fog, then think again, because what we are going through could possibly be just test runs of what's to come. So don't always believe everything you see.
Okay, so, right, believe half of what you hear and none of what you see. Anyway, now they're going on to speculate here that, like, people in general, right, you know, this is being used, this fog, quote unquote, is being used as a cover to hide these so-called flying things up in the air, right, to whom TikTok is now scrubbing the internet of, if you even mention the word. Why is anyone not surprised there? And because you can't see, right? You can't, you can only see so far. So if they're up in the sky, high, right, and you can only see to the end of your property or 10 feet in front of you, well, what does that tell you? You're not going to see those things up in the sky. Now, are you? Especially if they're not even flashing their freaking lights. All right. But if you were to look up in the sky, hold your camera, run it for a while, take a clip here in terms of a picture, crop it, and take it to exposure, you would probably see what's up in the sky through exposure, even though it looks blank, like a sheet of so-called fog, right? You see, this is the beauty of exposure. It's gonna, if there's something in the sky, but you can't see it because of this fog that's not reacting like fog, right? Exposure is gonna show you in the end. It's just you have to catch it, right? You might have to go through a lot of still pictures in order to finally pick up something, okay? Because right now it's just a speculation. Yeah, just you know, right? Keep people guessing, you know? Give them the heebie-jeebies.
Media and the governments. This next interesting video about the fog comes from the paranormal chick on TikTok.
Seems to be a situation developing. This is actually affecting...
multiple people across different states, starting from the East Coast.
So in a situation like that, whatever that picture is, which is looking pretty blurry, that's the way I see things. Very much so these days. More and more so. Yeah, every day I wake up, it's getting worse and worse, it's blending more together. And yeah, whoever sabotaged me and made that happen did a really good damn job, okay? And when I go see my eye specialist, you know what he says when I bring it to his attention? Well, at least I gave you 2 years to see better. Well, no, that's not what you told me when I first showed up to see you. You told me that you were going to make it so that I could see much longer than 2 years. But now that we're coming into the 2-year mark, you're just saying, well, be grateful at least you got 2 extra years out of it. Okay, whatever. So here you can see something. If you were to take this picture, take it to exposure, you would begin to see more, because the density of whatever you're looking at will be exposed. It will, right? And if there's something going on in the sky, you're going to see it.
And what people are posting and coming forward and claiming is this weird fog that's blanketing them. But the weird thing about it is it looks different, it smells different. It's actually hurting their nose, eyes, and throat. Take a look at these next 4 videos and let us know, are you or have you seen this mysterious fog?
I don't know what is going on, but it went from snow, rain, cold to 50 degrees and fog. Now, this is the exact type talking about when it comes to this geoengineering and how they alter in the atmosphere and the ozone layer and they obscure vision of the sky.
The fog tonight? What the fuck? Okay then. Holy shit.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
This next video comes from the TikTok farmer who states she's never seen anything like this before in her location in January.
What is going on, guys? It is so freaking foggy out here, and it's been like this for like the past 6 days. I've been seeing this all over my FYP. This is definitely not normal for this time of year. And I'm in the Midwest. I'm in Illinois right now, and it's been so difficult to drive. Right now, it's a little bit brighter than it was earlier, but the visibility is still low, so I'm gonna turn the camera. Oh, I don't see the option to turn the camera around, but
so yeah.
So you guys can
take it to exposure. If there's something lurking in the skies, it's going to come through because of the density around it. If it's just energy being sporadic and have no uniform structure to it, then clearly it's something going on. But if it's looking like it's got structure to it, but it's being distorted through a scrambler of some kind, like with that so-called second picture that kind of looks like could have been a helicopter that I already took to exposure, but when you're getting down into the lower parts of it, it was too uniform with the squares all pieced in together, and then up on top it was just, it was like, but it had the shape of a helicopter, but some of the parts were missing because of something being scrambled through technology, which would be energy of sorts, right? So these things are equipped with scramblers on them so that we can't really see them for what they are. But yeah, this stuff could be up in the sky, blanketing whole communities in large swaths of land bases to do something else up in the sky so people don't notice it. I can see that happening, for sure.
You can see You can't see anything past that barn there, and it's been, oh my.
You can't see anything past that barn. So if that's the case, go up into the sky, what, 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet? I don't know how high that you can go. But what do you think you're going to see up there if you can't even see past the barn? That's not even 100 feet away. Like, come on.
My babies want to say hi. I've been seeing people all over the world experiencing this. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know why it's so foggy. Let me know if you're experiencing the same thing in the comments there. I just think it's super weird because this is not normal for this time of year for us. We farm, we track the weather every year. I've looked at my notes and I have not seen anything like this in January ever in my life. So let me know what you guys.
Like with everything, there is a strong pushback with people saying, it's just fog, bro. It's just fog. But again, this fog is appearing in multiple locations around the world during times the fog should not normally appear, when there's a lack of humidity, and it's also carrying a very odd smell and taste. Now, I have been researching further into this fog, and I will be making another video when it comes to this fog, because something's definitely not adding up here, and there is definitely a heavy correlation between the drone sightings and this fog. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel...